Good, everybody. We are back again from the ashes we rise. MC and TR, the Black Figs podcast, kicking it with you for one more week. TR was good, man.
Hey, it's all good, MC. Eagles are 10-2, so we eating good over here.
Man, I wish I had some. I mean, we won, I guess. We kind of beat the Carolina Panthers. That ain't nothing to brag about, so I ain't got no football talk this week.
Hey, I heard a crazy potential trade coming through the pipeline where Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick can end up in New York. That would be crazy if that happened. And that worries me just because, NFC East.
I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks I've seen in my adult life, but it seemed like he's just not worth the stuff that comes with them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know, man. I wouldn't risk it.
I don't know. They don't have a quarterback right now, and there's a couple other teams out there looking for a quarterback. So,
So you suck with them and you suck without them, so you ain't got nothing to lose.
yeah.
Jets are trash.
Yep. All right.
Hey, real quick before we start, let me get
Sure.
this off my chest, man. So I'm still pretty new to this space, but I gotta admit, y'all Kendrick Lamar fans, man, man, y'all wild. Look, I think Nas is the go to hip hop, but I know a lot of people that think Nas is trash, but I'm not about to get worked up about it. It's my
Yeah.
opinion. And honestly, I said the album, I gave it an 8. You gave it a 6, but they was on your neck about that, man.
Yeah. See, and this is how some of these folks, and I'm not going to say all of them because a few of them were like, well, you didn't substantiate it. So obviously, folks want a dissertation when you give these videos. And it's like, I mean, we got like 15, 20 minutes on a lot of these topics. Like, we can't go, deep in the detail, 2, 3 levels deep on it, but whatever. But for a lot of for the other ones, I mean, there was one guy who was like, "Tell me how Drake's." I was like, "Come on, man, pause." Like, I'm not. I don't know what it is. We don't have like kind of a ban policy, but y'all making me think about what like.
Hey, you
Try
got to
to be
remember,
nice.
Kendrick fans, and I'm saying this as a Kendrick fan, but some of y'all ninjas, these are the same ninjas that shot up allegedly Drake's house in Toronto back in
Yeah,
May. So you just kind of got to realize some people just they idol worship, man. I don't get it, but yeah,
that's
it is
true
what it
too.
is.
And I, and at the end of the day, like I'm still like I didn't I gave the album 6 out of 10, and I think that's pretty good. There's a guy on there that did like 1 out of 10. I'm like, man, it wasn't that bad. Like, it was, yeah, I thought it was. It's not. I'm not gonna say 1 out of 10. That's disrespectful. But there's still a few songs. Few of those tracks made it to my playlist on Spotify. So I'm still gonna listen to it. I'm still gonna enjoy some of this stuff. But I did go back to some of the older stuff. So I know everybody, feels some type of way, but man, people come out of the woodwork for that one. That one has the most comments on there. And I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure it's all from men too. So that's mind boggling that men feel very strongly about this conversation. So
I'm going to assume that those are Gen Z and Gen Alpha men that are that engaged in arguing with somebody's opinion. That's just my guess, though.
yeah, and we'll definitely welcome the engagement. I'm open to, hey, maybe I got this one wrong. And now after seeing some of these comments, I know I didn't get it wrong. So fuck it. But I mean, oh man, I gotta edit that out now. Damn it.
Well, I say this to everybody who hates us. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
And that actually leads us off into Kendrick Lamar and Drake, really Drake, the lawsuit. So we kind of talked about this last week, where Drake had came up with the or issue. Oh, not Drake, but I think it was the label. But they created. I mean, Drake filed a lawsuit, and the label filed a lawsuit. And there's some more things that have come out about this lawsuit where it appears that Spotify was pushing the numbers, and this is all an attempt to get Drake for the cheap for the next contract that's about to re-up. So, any thoughts on that, MC?
I mean, if that's true, he has a valid case. Look, Drake appears to be petty, and I'm sure that's part of the reason why he filed this lawsuit. But there's got to be a part of him in the back of his mind that is, I'm gonna try to one up Kendrick one more time because
Mhm.
clearly he lost the battle. He
Yeah.
started it. He went low first. He came in there with a pencil, and Kendrick Lamar came in there with a tank.
Yeah.
But if there is some collusion between Spotify and Universal, and they're using that to leverage Drake, like the Kendrick Drake beat and leverage
Yeah.
him making less money, he's got a valid claim. I don't have any problem with that. But
So does
go
it
ahead.
does it invalidate the beef then? I mean, Kendrick won the beef, but does it invalidate it? Because if they were artificially inflating the that song, "They Not Like Us," does it? I mean, does Kendrick lose anything here? Or does the beef does it go down as a beef with an asterisk by it? Like, how do you
I
see the
don't
beef
think
now?
so. I don't think so at all. But again, Kendrick won. Kendrick is still reaping the benefits of They Not Like Us. That was the hit of the summer, and frankly, it propelled him to the Super Bowl. He might win a Grammy for it, for a diss song,
Yeah, which is if you think about that song, you know who else was using that song was Kamala Harris campaign as well too,
which is
and
ironic.
yeah, yeah. There's some other discussions there, but yeah, it's weird that the Kamala Harris campaign was using that same song, and then Kendrick Lamar gets embattled in a rap beef, especially against Drake, and so it becomes like a big whole ordeal. Well, that rap beef was like at the beginning of the year, and then Kamala started to use it, but it's just a bit interesting though because when I think about that song, I mean it's a good song, but I don't know if I'm gonna listen to it that much and I don't know how often people are going to be listening to. I mean, it was the hit of the summer, I believe. But as far as like this album, somebody was like telling me that there were like 8 tracks in like the top 10, and I don't know what eight they talking about in the top 10 or streamed
Hey, for the
songs.
record, this is how impactful this beef was. So Charlemagne gave Drake Donkey of the Day. I just saw that, and
Mhm.
he called him a OV hoe when he gave him the Donkey of the Day. He basically said this lawsuit is about your feelings being hurt, buddy. We can all see
Man,
through it.
you
So
know
people
what?
choosing sides.
Somebody somebody was telling me about this, or not telling me, but I heard about it. This beef, or sorry, this lawsuit is similar to what Prince and Michael Jackson had to go through, where they were trying to depress their value so they don't have to pay them that much. And so, I mean, is there really a difference here, or is it because a beef was ensued or was started by a beef, and then obviously Drake took the L on it publicly? But does it still? I mean, is he still in the wrong? I know.
Drake broke one of the man laws when he bought Kendrick's family, his wife or long fiance, whatever she is to him.
Yeah,
When he bought that into it, when he bought his family into it, he broke the man law. So
yeah.
that's the only wrong that I see in all of this. Because to me, Kendrick, it was just self defense. Because he sat back and he watched Drake take these shots. Uh, Family Matters was, I think it was called Family Matters. That's when he first hinted some things about Kendrick's wife and what she's doing.
Hmm.
That man law violations, man, right off the rip.
I
I
agree.
wish we need to get back to being men again. If you got an issue with me, it's with me.
Just keep
Aim
it
all
on
your
peace.
energy here. Yeah, I don't know where this other stuff came from, but Drake need to stay out of hip hop beats for a while because even though he took an L here, I still will argue the L was even worse with Pusha T.
Yeah.
Too many L's, man. Just chill out. Just count your money, Drake.
What about
You count your money.
what about when? Yeah, he should definitely count their. They both should count their money, but when when K Doc alluded that he was a PDF, those PDF files.
I mean, that's public records. He was talking about, I think he said the Baca guy. I think you can look that up, and that's public records about the lawsuit. So he
Mhm.
didn't, I mean, it's public information. So Drake couldn't sue about that even if he wanted to.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I guess at the end of the day, it's going to be a very interesting thing if this lawsuit does see the light of day. They'll probably end up settling, honestly. But the discovery, if it does go to court, the discovery is going to be wild because apparently this is kind of a common practice. It's just that they aimed their sights at Drake because they knew he was going to want a bigger bag. But I guess we'll find out. We'll definitely be covering that too.
I want to say he was on pace to be the highest paid hip hop artist like ever, like off of music sales, just
Well,
off of
he's at
music
four.
sales.
Yeah, because his contract's 400 million, right?
I don't know, but
Yeah, that was
I
400, or it's a high number, but he's going for $1 billion or close to $1 billion now on his next one.
yeah, but yeah, this was an interesting thing to see. They Not Like Us still slaps. Um, Personally, I like Drake's older music better, but
Same.
yeah, Kendrick won that battle.
Yeah, and I should probably just put it out there because too many folks are thinking that I'm this big Drake loyalist or a fan or something. And for the most part, I'm not a loyalist to anybody except for Outkast. That's it. That's that is probably the only group I will probably crash out for, like everyone else is crashing out though. But I mean, I'm talking about the older Outkast, not the Outkast that broke up, because you can say what you want now because they ain't worried about it. But or at least in my younger days, probably would crash out. But when it comes to like Drake, I mean, I like some of his older stuff though. And yeah, I kind of fell off after like maybe it was Scorpion or something, but it is I just don't have like this is my favorite, or how I rank these guys. Like they're just not in the top 10 for me, but I'm from the older generation though.
Man, I'm gonna just close on this. We're not talking about who the smartest person in this beef was. In
Mm,
my opinion, it was J. Cole.
yes.
He dipped his toe in the water. He was like, "Nah, this is
Yep.
trash. I don't want no parts of this." And
Yep.
exited the. Just count your money, man. We all be family men now. What you doing out here beefing with folks?
Yeah.
We didn't know Drake was a family man until Pusha T exposed it. But we 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 parents, man. Some of us is husbands. Some of us are running businesses and taking care of other things. Ain't no time for stuff like this. Get your
Facts.
money, lead your families, stay healthy, be happy. Period.
Exactly. All right. Let's go ahead and transition to the next topic.
With regard to the question regarding the family, I'm extremely proud of my son Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know, and I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him. Do that, and I will not pardon him. Do that, and I will not pardon him.
Good evening. We are coming on the air with breaking news tonight. President Biden has made a decision to pardon his son Hunter ahead of the transfer of power to President-elect Donald Trump, according to a senior White House official with direct knowledge of the decision. He's expected to announce it later on tonight.
Oh boy. Everyone's favorite Joe Biden, cool Joe. Joe can't do no wrong. Joe saved democracy by stepping down. Joe beat Donald Trump in 2020. Man.
Joe got strong arm. That's what happened. I'm gonna look at this from two different perspectives. I'll start with he's a parent, right?
Yeah.
A good parent, regardless of if their child deserves it or not, is going to keep saving and saving and saving. That's the humanitarian side of it. But the logical side of this is, man, look at all the stuff he did. I just posted an article from the Ways and Means Committee from Congress, who were essentially leading the charge here. And there's proof on that. There's text messages posted right there on the article. You can scroll down just a little bit and you'll see they have evidence using the alias name. He sent the text to an established business person in China. It threatened to get his dad involved if they didn't move that money.
Oh yes.
How much money? $5 million, right there in the article from the Ways and Means Committee.
Yeah, that was that. Biden was talking about like if the guy doesn't send the money, he's going to get fired or something. So yeah.
Yeah, he threatened him, and he also testified. He lied about this, so now to Congress, and he also said, "Well, maybe I was high and drunk when I sent it." So, look, man, I could go on all day about some of the Hunter Biden stuff. There's still some people that believe that mystery bag of snow that was found in the White House was his. We don't know that for sure.
Oh,
But
it's good, like a good chance, but yeah.
yeah, more than likely it is. I wonder if that's the first time that the cocaine has ever been found in the White House. But anyway, there's been some references to him using the N word quite liberally as well. But
no, not Hunter.
But left leaners, they tend to do that. They just act like they don't.
Man, there's some egregious things. And the one thing that I can't get out of my mind is Hunter, did you know Hunter slept with his deceased brother's wife?
Yeah, I knew that.
Man,
It's kind
you
of messy.
you convicted him on that. I'd understand. I mean, he had like brain cancer or something, and you looking down and your wife is getting plowed by your brother. Come on, man. And the wife, or I guess ex sister-in-law, she was the one that got him in trouble on the gun charges. So because this is a thing for a lot of people that I don't understand. This Hunter laptop and all that stuff. First of all, the news media buried it. Twitter buried it. Facebook buried it. Mark Zuckerberg's already come out and said they buried it when Elon purchased Twitter and turned it into the X, uncovered the Twitter files or the Hunter Biden laptop files. So everyone that was saying this stuff didn't exist, this is all like one big psyop, they were all lying, and the media was never held accountable for withholding this information. So all the ABCs, NBCs, and the one of the things I find the most egregious thing. So here on the Black Phoenix podcast, this is a place for we feel like for everybody, and it's not going to be like super left leaning on like black issues or white issues, blah blah blah. Like we talk about the topics as they come up, but for the black community, yeah, I'm so disappointed with y'all. This is ridiculous. Hunter Biden is everything that the black community dislikes or despises. This guy has he is a baby daddy. They have a kid. He has a kid out there that he doesn't see, but apparently people are okay with that. This guy was when he was over in, I don't know if it's Ukraine or wherever it was, but he was getting women of the night snorting cocaine off of them. There's some weird activity.
He was hanging out in the red light district, it sounded like.
Yep. And last time I heard, if your name was Diddy, trafficking is a terrible thing. But for Hunter Biden, trafficking is not a terrible thing, apparently. And we haven't got to like the most egregious stuff, like selling, trying to curry favor with the White House, like trying to sell influence to foreign business partners. This is like if it was anybody else, you're going to jail and you're going to get fined. You're going to jail. I know he paid the fine off. I'm sure his dad paid the fine off, but everyone's going to jail. Everybody's getting a fine. And leading up to that, at least before he pled guilty, which everybody seems to forget that he did admit to those crimes. Before he pled guilty and he got the sentence he received, they tried to give him a sweetheart deal that was actually pretty similar to the pardon he received. And so I don't know why the black community is getting behind this. Like, I know white people are pissed off too, like, really white liberals, or actually white liberals are not pissed off about it. And then really what it's like, the biggest issue is that I don't know how the black community is not pissed off about this, because this is everything that they say happens. Like, you want to call it white privilege? You want to call it the good old boys network? Call it whatever you want. But you would never let this happen if this was like if this was a Republican doing this, I'm not even going to say Trump, because if this is a Republican doing it, oh my God, this is racism. This is what our ancestors fought for. Like, we see it all the time. We see it everywhere. And so for Hunter Biden to get this sweetheart deal again, and his dad to put out that 4-page letter talking about, this is my son, and he's, the people going after him is politically motivated. It's your own Department of Justice that went after him. They had to go after him because he was such a mess up that they had to do something. And they actually tried to get him a sweetheart deal. It was a judge that kicked it out.
Yeah, I want to take this back to fake news real quick, because now we're starting to see what Trump meant when he said that there was once upon a time where, and a lot of people still take the news for what it is, but we're now in a space where we kind of have to press back and ask questions. There was once upon a time where the only job of the news was to report what was happening, good or bad. They just reported it. But now there's intent on the way they word things, or things that they don't disclose, and things that they cover up, and selective outrage and whatnot. They're playing on people's emotions now. So it's manipulation. And that's why people are gravitating away from the news and going to podcasts. This is the reason why people like Joe Rogan kicks everybody else's ass in ratings, because he just gives you what it is. You form your own opinions on it. Something happened in this country where critical thinking essentially went away. I know, and me and you, we kind of go back and forth on, is this a black thing or is it a Western thing? I think it's a Western thing. I think we're becoming more stupid as time goes by, and we just accept what people tell us without going out and doing research for ourselves.
Yeah.
And they can have all the degrees and accreditations in the world. You still have the right to go out and research what they're saying. It's okay to challenge and have healthy conversations, but I'm not going to just take anybody at their word, especially someone I don't know. The news is telling us there's nothing to see here with Hunter, but you got all these podcasts who've been sharing these same articles that I've been sharing months ago before the news even had access to it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in disarray right now with information and critical thinking in this country. It's ridiculous as hell.
Yeah. And what led up with the media, you had big tech censoring everyone. You brought up that Hunter Biden laptop, you got censored or you got booted from the platform. There are a lot of people that are on the right side or conservative. They were booted from X. They were censored on YouTube. A lot of people forget about that, or people weren't paying attention that this Hunter Biden laptop was a real thing, just like the whole Russia hoax that was started by Hillary Clinton, that everyone or not everyone, but again, big tech conspired to say this was a real thing. And had the Hunter Biden laptop thing came out, because this was during the election when it was supposed to come out, had it come out, it could have, I don't know if it could have swung the election, because we still haven't counted those 20 million votes that didn't show up for Kamala. But I don't know, it's possible, but the American people should have known what was going on with Hunter Biden. And for people to think that because he's a dad, like at least I've been saying from left-wing media, and they've been the ones like, well, he's a son, or that's his son, and he's already lost a son, he lost a daughter or something. This is just tragic, and he doesn't want to lose another kid to the politicization of because of his name and everything. And the thing is, Biden gave him a blanket pardon. That means from 2014, which has never happened. Like most pardons, I mean, the longest pardon I think was probably Nixon, the pardon for Nixon, which was like 4 years. Yeah. This pardon is like 11 years. And so people, okay, we know about the crimes that he did commit, or he did plead to. He could have committed more crimes. And so what are you going to say? Like, I mean, people already like fell asleep on him dropping the N-bomb in his emails. So what's it comes out that, he deleted somebody, or what's it comes out that he was assaulting people, non-white people? Like, what happens when you do that? What happens after that then? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, where is the line going to be when people start seeing the Democratic for what it is? And I hate this, like, well, Trump did it, blah, blah, blah. All presidents pardon people, and there are going to be some people that love, like Kodak Black or Lil Wayne. But then there's going to be some people that they don't love, because I think he pardoned his father-in-law or something, Trump did. But the point is, Obama did some crazy stuff too with his pardons. And we're talking about the whole Chelsea Manning thing. And I know a lot of people won't know who Chelsea Manning is, or, he, she, whatever that person decided to become. The thing with Chelsea Manning is that they, leaked out classified documents. So I don't understand why the Black community, because I looked at the messages. I was looking at on the Shade Room, and there was another one, Hollywood Unlocked, and everybody was like okay with this. I'm like, y'all would never be okay with this. And then white liberals, they would never be okay with Trump did anything like this. These people are hypocrites, big ass hypocrites, and they got exposed with this.
Every time I hear a Hunter Biden story, I feel like I'm watching The Hangover. Like, I feel like the only thing that's missing is like the tiger in the hotel room, and Doug and the mattress on the hotel roof. Like, this dude he's unstable.
He's 55. He's
he's still a teenager, but ultimately he's above the law because his father is the president.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yes.
if he's going to do any other goofy stuff, he better do it before January 6th. But yeah, man, yeah, he'll mess up again.
Yeah.
If history tells us anything, he'll do other things in the future, but he ain't gonna get the same kind of grace when Trump enters the White House.
Yeah, and I think this really hurts the Democratic Party as well too, because they've campaigned them or they've positioned themselves to say we are the moral authority. We are not like Trump. We are the opposite of Trump. We work for the people, and everything the Democrats have been doing with Kamala squandering almost $2 billion in campaign funds to Joe Biden almost
Oh,
starting.
she's fundraising again to pay off her debt.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. If you didn't hear that, folks,
but surely if she would have won, she would have balanced the budget of the United States of America.
Exactly. This was supposed to be the person that was supposed to be in charge of the free world, Kamala Harris, who messed up her campaign. So you got a lot of people thinking, just making these excuses. At the end of the day, these folks just do not like Trump. These are just never Trumpers. And no matter what the Democratic Party does, even if it means your destruction, they're still going to rep the Democrats just as long as it's against Biden. They will never, ever admit that Trump is, Trump was being wrongfully convicted or vilified in the media, and which may have led to two of his potential, deletion attempts. So I am just blown away, and I was definitely seen that when it comes to all these communities, when you're a never Trumper, it doesn't matter what the Democrats do, and that's going to blow up on them because you got if you don't have the moral high, if you're saying you have the moral high ground, you can no longer play that card anymore though, because Joe Biden just took a match and just blew up the Democratic Party. Like they're not going to be able to do. I don't know what candidate they're going to try to put forth, but they're going to lose. They're going to lose these next two elections.
Yeah, because they don't have a future. It can't be her again. I just saw an interview this morning from one of the biggest Dem donors who said if they try to put Kamala up again, he's out. He's not kicking in any funds.
Yeah,
I should have shared that link. But the other side of this is I think the Dems have a civil war that's coming up that they're going to have to deal with because Biden feels betrayed by that party.
Mm-hmm.
He does have a few people that are loyal to him at this point. And then I'm looking at people like AOC. There's going to be some type of split or dispute amongst them, and they don't have a plan to put anybody up next. I think they were looking at Gavin Newsom at one point, but he's not going to do well. He's just not. Well, I don't think we'll ever see a California liberal as president ever again, at least not for the next 100 years. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and Kamala's trying to run for governor in California, so that'll definitely be interesting if she does run, because then that frees up Gavin Newsom. But at the end of the day, people got to stop. You got to look at. You got to call it for what it is. If you are seeing that the Democratic Party is doing all the snaky stuff that they said Trump was going to do, and this is all in 4K, then I don't understand why people still rep the Democratic Party. If this is not the party that you said represents you, then just say that. Just say you're going to be independent, or you're going to create a whole new party, or go to the Green Party. I don't know. Like people, I don't understand why people have such a problem just saying the Democrats are full of ish, and the Democrats have lied to us, and they have Democrat policies have contributed to the destruction of a lot of families, specifically Black families. All you got to do is look at Chicago and New York and look at the immigration crisis. Well, the immigration crisis that was semi-happening now that a lot of these states have decided to tighten up their policies, and they've decided to go after some of these illegal immigrants. That's a whole nother conversation. But I don't understand. They just come out and say that and say like, just say the Democrats, these people are no better than Trump, and they're doing everything that Trump said he would. They say Trump would do. The thing is, Trump didn't start Trump is not about to start World War III. Trump just gave us a good economy.
Well, he just gave Ukraine permission to use those long distance ballistic missiles and aim them right at Russia. So that might be a goal of his. I don't have any sympathy for the Dems because they shot themselves in the foot. They had Joe Rogan on their side at one point, right?
Oh yeah,
and they turned their back with him. He endorsed Bernie Sanders. He endorsed Tulsi Gabbard while she was still a Dem.
Two people that they hate, two politicians that they hate.
Yeah, and they lost him.
Yeah.
They went all in with women and the LGBT folks, and they gave everybody else the middle finger. Oh, and illegal immigrants too. And they gave everybody else the middle finger and said, "We'll get to you after we deal with these 3."
Mhm.
So, okay, fine. I
And
have no sympathy.
And the funny thing with the Democratic Party, I mean, technically it's wide open for anyone, for any group to kind of seize the power. And I don't think it's going to be the Transformers. I don't think it's going to be just women specifically. And it sure as hell not going to be black women. And I'm only saying that, though, because I don't know who they would put forth to do anything to lead the party. Maybe there is a candidate that can come up, but it's not going to be, Michelle. I'm pretty sure Michelle is not going to run for the party because she would have did it now. But I don't know who they'll end up picking. Anyone from the Asian community. I don't know what communities, what card they're going to have to pull, but that person's just going to. They're just going to lose.
Only thing we know for sure is whoever they pick, if they lose, we know who they're going to blame. That's the only thing we know for sure.
Oh, that's a guarantee. Yeah, you could book that. You can put that. You can write that down now and open it up on election day in 2028.
That being said, good luck and Godspeed, Dems. Good luck.
Right. All right. And that'll lead us into our next topic.
Question.
And the question is, women are struggling to find men that they can date.
Okay. Couple things. Number one, black women cannot, shall not, should not expect a black man to be able to provide them with the same type of a lifestyle that a Caucasian can provide for the white female. Because the Caucasian benefits from white privilege, the black man suffers from white racism. So we should not be, no sister should be looking for a European equivalent or an African equivalent of a European. A black man has to work twice as hard to get half as much. So although I can appreciate the financial equity, but if you are a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer as an African woman in Australia or America or the UK or Toronto or Johannesburg, looking for a black man who has financial equity with your type of career success, that's going to be difficult. You might got to tone it down a little bit. What I find as a therapist who works with couples, married, divorced.
All right, we're done with that. That was a quick clip. As soon as he said therapist, I was like, all right, we out. Man, so
he actually is a licensed therapist. That's his day job. So it doesn't surprise me he would take you there.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying he's not a therapist, but man, good luck to those folks.
I just dropped an article in there. He made a point that it's unreasonable for a black woman to expect a black man to provide her the same lifestyle that a white man could. He blamed it on racism. I agree with the point, but I disagree with the reason. And this chart to kind of show you where I stand. There's a graph right there at the very top.
Mm-hmm.
This is in the United States. It's the average salary of a middle-aged man, 20 to 59, by race, and you can see there's some discrepancies there. If you
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So for that reason alone, I would say that it's unreasonable to expect that same lifestyle. We got to get our money up, and we're definitely capable of doing that. That's number one. Number two, Dr. Umar is talking about a woman essentially taking what she's earning and funneling it into the man's dream or his purpose. I'm okay with that. But again, I'm a traditional gender roles guy, so I'm the provider. So if whatever money my wife makes, if she wants to sew it into what I'm doing, cool. I'm good with that. This backdrop that you see behind me right now, she sold into it because she believes in what we're doing right here. So that's normal. But a lot of women don't think like that because they don't trust men right now. Some of that is justified, but most of it is not. We got to do a better job of standing on our square, chasing our purpose, and doing what we're supposed to do. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Even though I showed you that chart with the income disparities, collectively, Black people in America still are a very powerful economy. We just have to focus on where those dollars are going. So I reject Dr. Umar's original premise on Black men and white men and the type of lifestyle they can provide for their women.
Hey, just going back to this, you notice, wow, this is really bad. So while all the other communities, just rolling in the dough, if you look at like when the black community, 2005, 2006, the black community was at 35.3. And then 2010, 2011, then we drop. And that's everyone else drops, but man is a drop. And then you get to 2015, 2016, 32,800, and then you get to 2019, 2020, 35,300, which, a lot of these communities, for people that say, under Trump, the community was, they weren't making any good money. That's a damn lie. From what I can tell, these people were making money, started to make some money. It looks like everybody was like kind of dropping in the 2010, 2011. I don't have to tell the class who was president during that time, but anyway, so back to Dr. Umar. I can understand why he's saying this, but unfortunately, women are not signing up for that, and I don't think women should have to sign up for that as well too, because you're essentially saying, for a lot of these women, especially if you got dreams, like whatever your dream is, you got to make that work. You got to make it happen. Ain't nobody going to make it happen for you. Longer are the days where you can kind of get away with that type of stuff, where everything is a partnership, in a sense of like, actually, it's never really been a partnership. It's really
Y'all
just
can have that partnership stuff.
Yeah.
You can have it. No, sir. I'm the head.
yeah. It's
You can be anything else, but not the head. That's me.
right. And so a lot of times it's really been men, but this really highlights an issue where, again, this is, and I've said this before, DEI does not help black men. So when it comes to like, for a lot of these, these genders, or female gender, as well as non-black male, they're not contributing. Like for some of these folks, and I will say some more getting it just on merit, but for the other ones, like for a lot of these, DEI programs that are going towards, or specifically going towards helping specific genders, like there's a lot of women organizations out there that are helping them out and everything. Men, you're just left out. This DEI stuff, this is a great example of DEI not helping you, but really just to focus back on the women. Women are not going to sign up for this. And again, I don't think women should. For men, for you to reach your potential, you got to get out the mud. You got to like put in the work. You got to like wake up. You got to work multiple jobs, because at the end of the day, that woman is not going to be able to understand what you're going through. She's not going to want to be holding you down while she's out there working her 9 to 5, 40 hours a week. What's she doing with you? She could be with me. Like, if you a broke ass, then she needs to be with a dude that can get her that money, or at least, end up like helping her out, or at least paying a bill or something. Like, why would she stay with like some homosexual where she can be with some guy that does have money, or a guy that can provide for her? Why?
She's doing it anyway. Yeah. Look, I don't care what none of these women say. Y'all all are sleeping with some bums. And more than likely, y'all sharing the same bum. And maybe he piping you down well. Maybe you like him because you want to be a mother and you like taking care of him and telling him what to do. It's probably one of those two reasons.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, though, it's because, again, you've never seen masculinity properly executed in your life, and you don't know what to do when it happens. Yeah. But at the end of the day, and by the way, I just posted the same chart in the link. I dropped the link for the women. You can see there's some differences in races too.
So the first one was men.
Yeah, the first one was men. This one's women. Yeah, so you'll see.
Wow.
Basically, the Asians are kicking everybody's ass, men and women. But I think to deep dive and get to the root of this, I'm going to see if I can find a study that breaks down college majors by race, because I suspect if you look at us compared to other groups, you're probably going to find a lot of more nonsense degrees that don't give you a proper return on investment. And we've essentially moved away from trades, which we need to go back to. But ultimately, what Dr. Umar is saying, if properly executed, it can work, because if you start a business and you eventually get to the point where you can employ your wife and take her out of the workforce, so she's not as stressed. And not only that, but she's got more time to handle the situation at home with the kids. I'm a big proponent of a woman who's a mother and a wife should have the option to work. And if she doesn't want to, she shouldn't have to. But if she stays home, she's going to be teaching these kids because I don't want the world influencing our kids. And that's the problem now. If you are in a relationship with somebody and y'all both work full time, more than likely you're not spending enough time with them to influence them because you're working 40 hours a week. By the time you get home from work, you got to clean, cook and clean and make sure everything is set up. You probably only spend time with them on the weekends. So when you look at it realistically, they're being influenced more by strangers that you don't even know more than they are by you. And then as they start getting older, then they're going to start being influenced by their friends. So what we have right now ain't working. So I see what the ultimate intent is and what Dr. Umar is saying. Look, sell into my dream. Make sure let's work this thing out so it takes off. And then I'm gonna pull you out of your place of work. And you can either come work for me or you can stay home and be a whole lot happier. I think that's how the family unit should be. In that, but again, women wanted to go to work. So now you're my competition. If I'm not married to you, and we work in the same place, guess what? You're my competition. So now I'm going to beat you in every statistical category and not physically beat. You know what I mean? I'm going to compete with you and win because corporations use a bell curve to turn people against each other. The top performers get the best raises. So I'm trying to get that spot and beat you out of it. But guess what? You're a mother. If I have a problem with my daughter, I could just tell my wife, hey, can you stay home today? I'm gonna work some extra hours. But if you, as a mother, are competing with me, if you got a problem with your kids, you got to take off and go home. So you don't have the flexibility I have. So all of that matters with Dr. Umar's logic. Sell into my dream. Let's build something. You help me build it too. And then I'll pull you out of whatever situation you in, and we're gonna work this thing out.
You think men are built like that today?
No, they're not. But that's how it should be. I would argue that at one point we were, but again, that's going to put me on my soapbox when I talk about integration and how it made us weaker. But no, there aren't a lot of men built like that today. There aren't a lot of men who even know what their purpose is. You got to start there. Know your purpose and then go from there.
See, you would have me. You almost had me, but nope. I just remembered 92% of B-dubs voted for Kamala. As a community together, about 70% or 72% voted, and that's just a black vote. I don't know what it was for the cucks or the other ones. Like, I don't know what it was over there. So asking people, like, I'm not confident that the men of today can lead women, because we just saw a bunch of people tell us that what's her face is a black woman who is married to a you-know-who-ish and has no kids, but is telling you to delete your babies, specifically the black community babies. And we had a bunch of people just shame people just for just having a conversation and mentioning something about her. And so that said, these folks, I don't trust them. And as sure as hell, I'm not going to trust that a woman is going to stand by me while I try to get out of the mud so she can listen to a vision. I think women, when it comes to women, they're very fickle with their feelings. We say in the divorce, we say when it comes to custody. So thinking that she's going to stand by you until you can get out the mud, or at least get the business to like some type of certain level, especially if she like you could probably do it in your 20s when you're in college because everybody broke. But when you get to your 30s, that's going to be tough. And when you get to your 40s and you're trying to convince her, like, look, I can make this work. I just need you to believe in me. She's not going to stand by you. They ain't going to do it. They're complaining about like getting taken.
That's what faith is, though. Faith is trusting and believing in something without having the full tangible evidence that it's there. But believe it or not, I actually agree with you. What I'm saying is how it should be, but what you are saying is how it actually is.
Yeah.
So we're not that far off. I agree with you. A lot of men aren't equipped to lead, and a lot of women are just, frankly, they don't trust anything or anybody, so they can't be led. So now we're here where everybody's just competing with each other.
Yeah, and you have the women the men, the Democratic Party, they're ran by women, and so women seeing that, oh well, you're gonna fall in line with whatever I say. So I can be the leader. You don't need to be the leader anymore. The women, and I've heard this said before on in these spaces where women have become the new men and men have become the new women. Like this is the state of affairs that we're at, and trying to save men. I mean, you got CGA out there, you have Anton Daniels out there, you had KS Kevin Samuels, you have the Angry Man. All these guys are out here trying to minus Kevin, but all of these men are out here trying to they want the best out of men. They want you to like enjoy your life and be there for your families or grow your family or whatever the case is. They get the most pushback from men. I see it in their comments. I see it in their chats. I see men. We saw it in our chat, just having a disagreement over Kendrick. So I don't know what it is about these men, and I don't think it's like even like an age thing too, because the majority of the men that are, I believe some of the men that are out there, they're kind of in their 30s and 40s. So
Yeah.
I want to say like men in their 20s are probably not having these types of conversations because they just, they're enjoying their 20s until they, have to like really get things under control though. But a lot of these men out here and, just from how they've been operating, I can see why women will not stand by. Well, I mean, like I said, I know women won't stand by, and I don't think they should stand by. Like if you got like for women, and we know this about women, they got their market value up front. So if they're gonna hold it off, like, hey, I'm gonna be in this, I'm gonna settle down with you, and all I gotta do is faith. Women today are just not gonna do that. And me, honestly, if I see a woman, she stayed with the guy for like maybe I don't know, like 5 years, he was a bum ass loser, man, you getting slotted.
Yeah.
You let that dude run you, like give you just on his word, based on what?
We talked about this before, and Kevin Samuels is the first person I heard say it. But you said it too. When a woman is born, she has value right away.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get value until later on in life. Our value is based on our outsources and our outcomes, our outputs and our outcomes. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a trade-off because she's starting high, we're starting low, and eventually we're going to. It's like an inverse curve of each other.
Yep.
And it doesn't help that colleges are slut factories. I've heard Anton Daniel say that, and he's 100% right.
Yes.
Colleges are making sluts out of people. And if you like a slut, cool, good for you. But a lot of people don't want to marry a slut. So there's that.
Well, they don't want to know they're marrying a slut, but they are.
Yeah, there's a lot of married people getting tossed around, unfortunately.
Yeah. So Dr. Umar, I think he's just selling dreams because there's no what he's trying to say and how he's getting there. I can see how some people can sign off on that, and he's talking specific and to simply say that Black women or they're not operating like white women, bullshit. A lot of these white women are out here saving some of these dusty dudes. I say it all the time. I'm like, nah, we gotta have standards over here. Like at some point for a lot of men, you once you get a bag, your options, your choices, it's going to change. So if you're looking for a type of chick or want a chick to take you serious, as soon as you get some money, like, and I know I want people to want somebody to love me, well, good luck trying to find that. You can find it in the mess of women that have broke up their marriages to go be with some dude at their job who didn't want them but just bust them down, and then also tell your kids why your mom wants to get bust down versus saving her family. Like, let's have that conversation. So for a lot of the men, keep thinking. And I saw a lot of men were like co-signing this, and this is terrible. Like we're the Black community is really in bad shape. And if we can't have men as the leaders, like at one point, I think I've told you this before too, like this election cycle was a great chance for the Black community to kind of band together and have our own party. Like call it whatever you want, but this was the chance to do it. I no longer believe that's ever going to happen. People are just too ingrained in trying to be a victim, and people just want these handouts that are destroying this country, and they want these handouts in their marriages. Women are online 24/7 telling you they don't want these types of men. They have 3 or 4 talk. You know what 3 or 4 talk is, do you?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But look, here one thing I learned, they say they don't want that shit publicly, but privately they still yearn for it. They just
Oh, yeah.
gotta they need to deal with their traumas. They need to get over their exes, and they gotta take some accountability for letting people skeet in them that shouldn't have been skeeting in them. But
Yeah.
you brought up a really the nuclear family is linked to our political power and our economic power. And
Mhm.
that was on full display when the Dems, and I keep saying this, and I believe this to be true. I think a huge reason why the Dems lost was they asked BWs what BMs want, but they can't speak for us right now because our family dynamic is so messed up that they don't know us.
Yeah.
So that's it. We can't be taken as a serious political group until we fix the nuclear family. And that's not any disrespect to the LGBT folks, but the nuclear family is what sustains us and keeps us going.
Yeah.
So it needs to start there. That needs to be repaired first. And that's going to require people to admit their mistakes and repent and change it up. But some people don't even like apologizing. So I don't see it for happening in the foreseeable future.
Oh, apologize, man. Good luck. Good luck. That apology is not going to happen or ever even come close to an apology. And the crazy thing is, whenever anything hits the fan, you're gonna need a dude. And good luck trying to find a dude that's gonna be stepping up and be that guy for you, or at least be that guy for your kids as well too.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, next topic.
My mother told me, she said, you never hit a man where he's weak. Never. It could be true, it could be real, but you don't hit him where he's weak.
Hey, who is this person?
So that's Judge Lynn Toler. I don't know if you remember her from the family court shows.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she checks men and women. She keeps that same energy.
Yep. And when you said that, I remember. I know exactly. Man, that's kind of crazy. You just say their name or what they did, and we know who they are exactly.
Yeah.
Because it'll turn around on you. You can get him to do what you need him to do, but you never hit a man where he's weak because they never forget it. It lives with them. And so I know what his weaknesses are. He don't know I know they're there because I don't mention them, don't talk about them, and I don't, now I talk about my weaknesses all day long, but he,
How do you know? How do you learn about a man's weaknesses?
Well, I done been with the brother. I know where he's weak.
So I brought this up because one of the things I often hear women complain about on the relationship side of things is they want men to open up, be more emotional, more in tune with them, and more honest. And I always respond with, "No, you don't," for a lot of reasons. But this is a protection mechanism for a man. We have to be very careful what we say around women, because a lot of us have been through those situations where you could tell someone your deepest, darkest secret, but let a breakup happen or let a really bad argument happen. She gonna air all of that out.
Yeah, but the bodies.
Yeah, she gonna try to crush your feelings, and a lot of men know this, and they just opt to keep certain things to themselves.
Yeah,
I like the wisdom that she shows, though. That's great advice, and I hope to every woman who hears that, and shout out to Harley Initiated for that, sharing that interview with the world. But she's absolutely right. Some of the accountability that comes with the woman loving you is her protecting your secrets and keeping you safe. But a lot of women don't realize that, and men know that too, so they keep a lot of stuff to themselves.
Yeah. So she is. I understand her point where she says you don't let them know that you know. But to me, that's how we get into these divorces where the man didn't know anything. Like the crazy thing is, men are just usually the last ones to know about divorce is about to go down. And if she knows whatever she knows, that's going to be used and weaponized against you. And showing like any type of emotion, that's going to, you might as well wrap it up though, because she's gonna be looking at you with a side eye going forward, or go ahead and cry in front of your woman. Like if you're not at a funeral or something related to your kid, I think is probably the accepted situations, or you're just happy because of championship or something. Outside of that, you just having like a bad day or something. Yeah, good luck, buddy. You might as well start packing them bags.
she also kind of indirectly hinted, and I try to tell women this, but for the love of me, I can't get them to understand this. If you are a woman who submits to your man, you can get him to do almost anything you want him to
Oh
do
man.
if you fully submit to him. Like I don't know why women don't understand this. Like, try it. Submit to his leadership. And if you want like a vacation out of him or something,
Yeah.
I promise you, if he's a good man and he's convinced that you are fully submitting to him and yielding to his leadership and letting him lead the house, he gonna take you on that trip.
Yeah.
I just wish they would understand that. Tap into being a woman and what that really means, and you think Obama wasn't making decisions in the White House without getting some input from Michelle.
Mhm.
And even with some of the things that Trump wanted to do for kids in America when he was in office, he'll tell you that Melania put some of that stuff in him. Like, tap into your feminine power, man. You're gonna get the stuff that you want from him. Don't be masculine all the damn time.
Yeah. I have a daughter. We both have daughters, and the femininity, and my daughter's way older. She's 17, going on, you think she's 24 25 or something. And when it comes to like, and I've tried to have this conversation with her, and for the fathers out there, and especially if you're not with the mother, try to have that conversation as early as possible, though, because she doesn't really understand the power of her femininity. And I think women, they kind of miss that education thing, for at least if they don't understand it and they're a teenager, they won't understand it until they're like in their 40s or something. Like, it just goes by them, and they don't realize, like, man, you could have the world. Like, any guy, like a guy is gonna, when people arguing or whatever, usually with a calm voice that kind of calms things down. And so, femininity is definitely your power that will, stop, two men from fighting, and like, hey, you know what, let's talk this out and everything. Um, you know, rather than resorting to fisticuffs. So yeah, when it comes to femininity and also what she's saying, though, she's definitely giving some good advice. I don't know what the comments said on what she was saying. I don't think they shouldn't be egregious, though, but sometimes people.
I suspect they will be. I think the women is probably gonna come for her.
You know what?
Not gonna lie.
Let me take a look real quick if you want to pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, there might. My guess is it's going to be a lot of okay. I can see that from the men, but I think a lot of women gonna be like, nah, they don't deserve that. That's my guess. It's going to be
Uh,
hard to tell if the person commenting is a man or well, because some of the men are real feminine in their comments anyway.
sure.
But I'm curious to see how those comments are going in that conversation.
Yeah, and from what I can tell, it appears to be pretty positive. I'm just doing a quick,
A
you know,
positive video on YouTube, okay, it happens
well,
sometimes.
to be fair, it is a black woman who is saying some nice things like that. And crazy thing is, with a lot of black women, you have that femininity thing behind you, you're going to be able to like people want to listen to black women, and people want to listen to black women, especially in politics. People want to listen to black women when it comes to like just hearing about just regular life stuff going on. The problem is that depending on what the message or how it's being delivered, like, I know a lot of people that love Jasmine Crockett, and there's a bunch of people that do not like Jasmine Crockett because of how she delivers her message. But when it comes to Judge Lynn Toler, I mean, I can't see, like I said, I didn't see anybody have a negative comment about her, and she delivered that message. And I know some people are going to be like, well, we shouldn't have to, we should be able to do this, do that. Look, do you want to win? Like, if you want to win, then she's giving you the blueprint on how to win, or she's giving you some stuff there on how to win. But obviously, you definitely need to put a little bit more work. Something I wonder, I wish they would bring back is what is it called, finishing school, or when you send the daughter to, or maybe it's called battalion. I don't know. It's one of those.
Yeah, yeah, you're talking about like the cotillion type stuff,
Yeah.
or debutante balls and things like that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, they used to have etiquette and stuff like that, but man, Gen Z and Gen Alpha are cooked. If you ever watch the Social Experiment on Netflix, you'll just see. And then there's also a video. I'm going to bring it in one day. It's a bunch of Gen Z women complaining about how awkward the men are, and how awkward they are.
Hey,
Like,
you talking about liberal men?
man, from what I'm seeing and talking to some of my younger cousins, these men just ain't approaching nobody. They rather just stay on their Xbox. They rather just fall in love with somebody on a porn site.
Yeesh.
It's hard out here right now, from what I'm hearing. So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Men definitely need to they need some type of training as well too, which they do have the men out there, but you know how it is, just telling men about, you know, how they need to approach life and how they need to approach women and stuff like that. So um the information's out there. It's just that people don't want to listen, or they're at different points in their life. I mean, maybe you could tell me this maybe 10 years ago. I don't know, about 15 years ago. So it's hard to say.
Man, I tell you what changed my whole trajectory as a man was, it wasn't even therapy. It was, and I've gone to therapy, but having the proper mentors was clutch. You
Sure.
know, if you ain't got a solid relationship with your pops, you need to find you a solid mentor, like a
Mhm.
solid male mentor that's going to teach you the game on how to stand up and lead and what that looks like. And but you can't do it by yourself. You're gonna need somebody who's played the game before, can give you some insights that you can't come to by yourself. So I think that's gonna be just as valuable. And it sounds to me, if I had to guess, going back to the judge here, I'm going to assume she grew up in a two-parent home, because she definitely don't sound like somebody who's all about herself. She sounds like somebody who's prepared to put the family before everything else, and that's essentially what anybody wants in a partner.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. It's unfortunate. I okay. She was actually married. Her husband just died. Dang.
Yeah, but they were married for a very long time.
Yeah, 89.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yep.
Which,
Because I've heard interviews with them before. They met really, really young, and they was like, "Yep, we've been together. We've been happy. We chilling." Yeah,
yeah, fun fact. She actually was a Republican until 2016, which whatever. And then she became an independent. That's
hey,
wild.
that makes sense too. Honestly,
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's unfortunate, but I'm glad she you know, she was able to give us some good advice though. And she's had a very you know, resourceful or actually you know, successful career, especially making the jump from being a judge to being a TV judge as well. So it's good for
no
her.
doubt. Yeah, good for her.
All right, let's get to the last topic.
As one people. And I believe that Kamala Harris would have done that. This thing is divisive, cruel, and evil, insane, narcissistic, and he's a sociopath. But honey, we are the people. And we're not going to allow this dictatorship. I told everybody you can be scared, but we must be unafraid. Now, how do you fight? You go to your city council meetings. You go to your zoning meetings. And you'll know who's raising your rent. Educate yourself.
All right, quick pause. When she says stuff like go to your city council meeting and you figure out who's raising your rent, do you want to take a wild guess who's raising the rent and taxes in Chicago? Like, and I know we pick on Chicago a lot, but Chicago is a microcosm of you know, how the Black community operates, or when you have Black leadership. But just, this is insane. They're about to have their mayor, the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Adams. Yes, yeah, Brandon Adams. He campaigned on not raising your taxes. And what is he doing year 2 into the job? He just finished year 1. So year 2 in the job, he is trying to raise property taxes to take care of
They
the,
shut that down, though. They shut it down.
I know, but he's trying to push it back through though. And so they're trying, and the part of the reason they're raising it is to help pay for the immigrants that they have in the city, that they decide to be a sanctuary city. So when she says you need to get out there and vote, Yes, you're out. You need to be out there voting. The local elections matter the most. You need to be out there and telling your local leaders, your councilmen, your aldermen, hey, I don't want you operating like this. I don't want our tax dollars going here. We need to vote you suckers out. This is the people doing the most damage are the people that look like her.
I agree with that. And she was wrong in everything that she just said. Some women are so good at inspiring fear as opposed to hope. But
Yes.
she was so wrong. So let's talk about some of the things she was wrong about.
But real quick though, that is an absolute bar though, because whenever I see these videos go viral, typically it's a black woman who is just going a whole nother level about when she said the dictatorship. The only people that want to have a dictatorship are the Democrats, but when it comes to like delivering these type of messages, the best motivators when you deliver these messages, they tend to be black women. I almost think that's kind of on purpose though, because the white liberals do not want to get their hands dirty, so they send in pretty much a what do you call it? Not a mercenary to kind of deliver that message. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right, because I think the Democrats have been using black women to do their dirty work when it comes to like talking about Trump. And I know there have been some white liberals talking about Trump, but for the most part, I tend to see black women go viral, or at least they're good for the clips to go viral in this type of stuff.
She was still wrong about a lot of stuff, man. And I'm tired of this fear stuff. Let's talk about the dictator thing first. We're already seeing that Trump got Republican pushback for Matt Gaetz to the point where he had to withdraw.
Yep.
So even within his own party, he doesn't have full control. That's number one. Number two,
they're moving on to Tulsi Gabbard too.
Yeah, they're going to start digging into her too, because they don't want to see her in there. So this ain't going to be no cakewalk for him like people think it is.
Facts.
Number two, you can't use the U.S. military on domestic soil. It's in the Constitution. If it ever gets that bad, there are contingencies in place, but it's not the U.S. military attacking American citizens.
Right.
That's number two.
Citizens is the key word there. Citizens.
Right. Number three, there's checks and balances in our system. Most people can't even pass the basic civics test, but we know the three branches of government, and we know about the checks and balances involved in said branches of government. And we're already seeing it come into play, that they're checking each other and holding each other accountable.
Yep.
He's got 2 years to have the most friendliest Congress he's ever had. If he fails, and I will tell you right now, Mexico has already said, Trump, let's meet and talk about these tariffs you want to place. He just met with Justin Trudeau, and they had a productive conversation about the northern border wall. So again, I ask you, not you, but Ms. Jennifer Lewis, who seems to be intent on inspiring fear and confusion amongst us, as if we already don't have enough of that. What has he done or said so far that has got you so scared that the world is coming to an end? Because I don't know what it is. I don't know what you're seeing. I'd be more concerned with the fact that she's presenting this like this isn't our fault. This is everyone's fault. Well, ma'am, it's y'all against the rest of the country right now, because Kamala was beaten so badly that the whole entire country almost came together and said, no, we don't want this. We don't want her. We talked in the previous episode. He almost flipped New York red.
Mm-hmm.
And her home state of California was only 60-40. What other proof do you need that this was a bad candidate? And the only reason why you're rocking with her is because she's a woman. Notice I didn't say black woman. She's a woman, and you're a black woman. The jury's still out to me on if Kamala is black or not. I'm sorry. You have to do better than she went to an HBCU and she joined a black sorority. I'm going to need more substantiation to that. But ultimately, it don't matter, because it doesn't take away from the fact that she wasn't a good candidate. She was never a good candidate. She just wasn't. Jennifer Lewis is she's just causing confusion. And I don't know if you want to play any more in the video.
Oh, we got more.
Okay, all right. I'm going to hold my comments then.
Because you're losing your rights. And I'm talking to the Gen Zs and the millennials now. You ain't going to have no pension if you don't fight. You ain't going to have Social Security or health care if you don't fight. So learn how to fight. Listen to smart people. Listen to Steve. Listen to Stacey Abrams.
All right. You know what?
Listen to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and Maxine Waters. Listen to them. Listen to who knows.
Pause it for a minute. She said, okay, first of all, she said that you're losing your bodily rights. I live in Arizona right now. Trump has already said, this is the 1 million time I'm saying this, but I'm getting annoyed with it at this point. I got rid of Roe versus Wade because I wanted the states to decide. Arizona put Trump in office, but Arizona also decided to add deletion to their state constitution to make it a fundamental right.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump was asked about that, and he said, look, I did what I said I would do. I put it on the states. That's what Arizona decided. It's over. It's done, period. So that's number one. Number two, no pension. Let's talk about that for a minute. Most of these cities in this country.
Hold on, real quick, just to throw a quick, one more piece of news in there, or at least help strengthen that argument. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she actually wanted the same thing as well too. So for all those feminists and liberals that come out there, Ruth Bader Ginsburg said this ruling on Roe versus Wade, it was not sound. I forget the exact argument she made, but she said it was not sound, and she wanted to have it kicked back to the states, or you bring a case up here that's actually a little bit more because it was more the Roe versus Wade was about privacy, and it turned into this whole thing where abortion is just legal everywhere. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg was not for that. She just wanted it to get kicked back to the state. But people always conveniently leave that out about her. So, she's not the queen, the queen liberal that people think she is, or at least, I mean, I'm okay if she thinks that way, but a lot of people leave that out and they try to make it seem like, oh, Trump said this. Ruth said the same thing too.
Yeah. My other point I was going to make was what she was saying about pensions going away.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you why I'm fine with that. The biggest expense item in most of these cities are government pensions. Now, I know this is a sensitive subject for some because that includes police and fire pensions.
Teachers too.
Teachers as well, but the rest of us have to deal with 401ks or 401(b)s or something equivalent to that. That is not the same thing as a pension. What that essentially is how much I put into it. Now, if you work for a great company, they'll match you up to a certain degree, but essentially you're responsible for it. Mm-hmm. So it's not a burden on the taxpayer. These government pensions are what's causing a lot of these cities to go broke. Even the non-sanctuary cities are being held hostage by large pensions. I cannot tell you how many people I know who worked in some form of government. They stuck around long enough just to get their pension, and they left because they knew they'd be set for the rest of their life. So they're just sitting there semi-retired in their 40s or 50s, I might add, and just collecting government pensions and just putting these burdens on taxpayers. This is why the Doge exists, so they can come in and look at some of these efficiencies at the federal level, but it's probably time to trickle some of that down to the state and local level too, man. Like, I think pensions should go away entirely and should be replaced with 401ks or something equivalent, because you have to own your own retirement like many of us are forced to do. And let's be honest, more than likely, me and you won't see Social Security, and people younger than us probably won't see it either. So we got other issues that we got to deal with, but you can't keep putting these burdens on taxpayers to fix other people's problems. That's another reason why I got frustrated with the Dems when I left in 2010.
Yeah. The whole pensions and it's definitely tricky with teachers, and part of the reason there's such discourse in Chicago is because I think it's Brandon. I think I said Brandon Adams, but I think it's Brandon Johnson is the mayor. He is a teacher, and so when it comes to like trying to slash any type of expense or any type of city service or whatever, people always say, hey, can you look at the teacher's pension? He is emphatically, no, I am never going to, cut the teacher's pension or do anything that the teachers have to take a pay cut. He has never once swayed on that. That's probably the only promise he's actually kept, though. But It's going to be tough with the teachers, and it's going to be tough with like police officers and firefighters, because I definitely see part of being a police, but the firefighters, I think that can kind of, people probably let that slide a little bit, but when it comes to being like a police officer, oh man, that's a tough one. I've seen cities that are just crumbled because they don't have any police force, or even even EMTs or firefighters as well too.
Yeah. Another thing, man, I don't think you should be able to receive anything in perpetuity. That includes a pension.
True.
If you want to continue on with these pensions, it needs to be set to expire after a certain amount of time, maybe 20 years, maybe 15 years, maybe 10. You can negotiate and work all of that stuff out. But when it comes to these pensions that people are talking about for the rest of my life at the taxpayer expense, it's not fair. And it's not feasible to continue to do that either. Look, we got a lot of baby boomers that are coming up on, we got the boomers, and then we got that silent generation between the boomers and Gen X. A lot of them are pension eligible, and that's the largest segment of our population. So wait until we start to see the financial impacts of that.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to get ugly before it gets pretty again, but we need to start looking at different ways to compensate people for retirement. 401ks and 401(b)(3)s seem a lot more fair to me, and there's a lot more ownership that's involved with that. But what do I know?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough conversation. Another thing that she said, when she said you need to start listening to people like Stephen A. Hell no. Stephen A. will say everything that's probably, like, when it comes to like money and everything, he's talking about conservative. But when it comes to like the way he votes, you like, and he always has to say this, I voted blue, I voted for her, or whatever it is. Like, hell no, Stephen A. You're the worst representation of what men should be listening to, or people in general should be listening to. Like, hey, sports takes, I mean, I enjoy the outbursts. Outside of that, nah, man, we ain't listening to you. Actually, this election cycle is a great this election cycle was actually impactful, showing us that we don't listen to celebrities anymore. People with like these big platforms or anything, unless you're like a YouTuber or some type of content creator or whatever, nobody's listening to these Hollywood celebs or TV personalities anymore.
Yeah, and nor should they be. If I talk to somebody about anything of substance and they use a celebrity as their reference point, I just lose interest in the conversation. These people do not live the same lifestyles that we do, nor are any of them mentally stable. And I know a lot of that firsthand, because I know some people that do security work in that industry. These ninjas is all crazy, and I don't know why we're following any of their leads.
Right.
Nah, I'm good.
The tape now. Because this Republican Party ain't playing.
Let me see if I can find.
Let me ask you this.
Oh, there it is.
What about what they've said in terms of Black, particularly Black men and Latinos, supported him more than they have in the past? Why do you think that is? And what do you have to say to Black men and Latinos who were not in favor of supporting Kamala Harris?
Oh, honey. Oh, honey. When your favorite niece and your 13-year-old daughter is raped by your alcoholic brother or the next door neighbor, and she tries to abort that baby inside of her from a rape, you're going to regret that. They want to keep women in their place. It's so disgusting. I can't even put words to them voting.
All right.
It's really amazing to me. Here's that XX deflect that I've talked about previously. Just refuse to accept any type of accountability. It's just misogyny, sexism, racism. Look, we already dispelled the myth that less than 1% of deletions, actually it's 3% when you include mother's wife in danger, rape, and incest. It's less than 3%. They were ready to crash out the whole entire country over this minuscule thing. And look, the fact that she's even sowing somebody's daughter getting raped by a drunk
Well, she said
relative.
your favorite niece too. So I mean, forget all your other nieces.
It's almost like she wants to watch the world burn. She wants to watch the world burn just to say, "I told you so." That's
Yep.
the only reason.
Yep.
And a lot of women think like this. I'll burn this whole mofo down just so y'all can know that I was right. What sense does that make? And here's another thing. Let's go ahead and share this too, because I'm so tired of these single issue voters who irritate the hell out of me. Can you pull this map up real quick?
Yeah.
It's from the Guardian, which is a semi-centrist left-leaning publication.
Oh man.
But just bring up the United States map, and I'm going to show you that I don't think there's one state right now where deletion is outright banned. So you have options, even if you decide to go that route. I don't think you should, but if you go that route, look at all these states where it's either legal or it's banned after very least 6 weeks, at the most 18 weeks. I say all that to say, if that unfortunate situation does happen to you that she just brought out, you have options. It's not banned. It's not illegal. So again, why are you making something out of nothing here? This is why I'm probably going to sound a little misogynistic saying this, but I don't know too many women who are capable of leading men, because we see stuff like this.
Yes.
And it's like, no, I'm not going to be scared. Even if I was on the other side of this and I took a loss, I promise you I'll be sitting here saying, you know what, I'm going to stand tall and I'm going to do whatever I got to do until we can run it back and try again. But she just being a defeatist and making everybody else feel that way too. I'm done with that, man. No more victim stuff for me.
Oh man. So this is the thing that a lot of folks just I think women, when they hear this is their anthem. This is something that they could probably listen play over and over and over. Why would you even put that in the universe? Because I didn't vote the way you wanted me to vote. You are saying that somebody's brother, uncle, or whatever is gonna like do something terrible. This is why therapists are just raking in the money, because I guarantee you when they started seeing their patients, it probably started this year, or probably started when Trump took office. Like, oh, tell me how you're feeling today. Well, since Trump took office, I'm feeling more, I feel more targeted. I feel like I'm in danger. I just saw a video about women are getting themselves sterilized because they're afraid that they won't have any abortion options or deletion options or reproductive rights. Like, what are you talking about? Like, why would you think that's the best move here? I mean, because we just had the map pulled up. You're going to be able to do it in most cases. And even in the extreme cases, you're still going to be able to do it. And for her to think that this is okay, and Stephen A. and I know Stephen A. is doing an interview and his job is to let her talk, but come on. This is blasphemy. This is not what's going on. And it upsets me when I see these people having these discussions, because they make everyone else look like they're the bad guy. They make them look like they're insane, they're deranged. Like, this stuff exists. You guys are refusing to acknowledge it, or at least say, like, because of Roe v. Wade being overturned, now we have extreme abortion protections. But they don't want to have that conversation. They don't want to say, hey, I don't like Trump, but he did open a door for some of these states to have the type of abortion or deletion laws or policies that they have on the books. Like, they don't want to have that conversation. And she thinks this is the best way to get people convinced, just to keep fear mongering, keep doubling down on that, liberals, keep doubling down on that. We'll see how that looks in 2028.
Yeah, and look, even Utah, who many consider to be the most conservative state, 18 weeks. You have 18 weeks for deletion.
Yep.
Now, Florida you get 6 weeks. You better figure it out in 6 weeks.
Yes.
But ultimately what I'm trying to say is, and even on that map we put up earlier, all those green states, you can do it all the way up until viability. But ultimately what I'm trying to say is it's not going anywhere.
Nope.
So stop making something out of nothing, man. This is God, this is getting ridiculous.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. If they don't have this to promote and push out there, then they have nothing else to talk about. It's like these race hustlers, and for this one, I mean, I would call it probably these deletion hustlers, because and this is what Kamala ran on, is these deletion, and everybody was like, well, this really isn't an issue, and we saw that play out in the voting as well too, where people were still Democrat, but they still voted for Trump. And so for people to think that this is not or for people to still think this is a thing, honestly, I think it's probably a thing either on social media or on some of these TV programs. But when it comes to people, when they show up at the booth, they understand what's going on here. And so reproductive rights are not in danger or anything close to that.
Right. And I just one more thing I want to call out, that those states in red are where it's going to be the most difficult for you. But even Idaho has recently added a law that makes an exception for rape or incest. So we're going to start to see more of that too. So
yeah, in Ohio too, they're carving out exceptions for these certain situations. I told you when we voted here, I was not on board with pairing the two rare issues. I was not on board with that, because in my mind, you would not wait until the third trimester in a case of a unwanted situation, or if your life is in danger. Well, actually, unwanted situation. But if your life is in danger, that can happen any time during the trimester. So I'm like, yeah, I understand that, and I'm on record saying I would never sacrifice my wife in that situation. But for the other situation, I just don't think the third trimester, or they would let it get to the third trimester. I think it's more of a first trimester, maybe second trimester, but I don't think it needs to go beyond that. But I mean, the voters spoke. They put it on the books. The system, people decided what they wanted, and they voted. That's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that kind of wraps up this episode. Any last words?
No, I'm good, man. Thank y'all for rocking with us again. Leave your comments, subscribe, check out our social medias. TR is going to post those. But thank y'all for rocking with us again.
Hey, yeah, this was a fun one, especially reading the comments. You guys, you guys. I don't think I've ever been just some of the stuff that was said, but it was fun reading them and replying to them. And I try to like all of them as much as I can, even the ones that I hate. You get out of pocket though, you're gonna get blocked. So there we go.
Exactly.
Have a good night, everybody.
Peace.